Right then, another S5 video. So if you watch the previous videos and the previous track day on this car, we've been battling oil temperature problems. And then when I fixed the oil temperature to where it was reasonable and usable, the water were getting hot. So I think that's because I've got an oil cooler here that's then blowing hotter air into the radiator, and we've put a bigger intercooler in there to keep charge temps down. So can I ring you in 2 minutes, because I'm just doing another video. So we're not giving the radiator the easiest of chances anyway, but the oil's still getting a little bit hot. So I said if that didn't fix it, I was gonna just retire it from track duties, but I like it, so I wanna try and sort it. So this were always planned to do this. So we've got a brand new genuine water pump. We have nothing but hassle with aftermarket water pumps, so we always use genuine ones. This Silly Italy, made in Italy, don't know, never seen that brand before, but anyway, genuine. Obviously we've got INA, tensioner, all the belts, all the bolts, all the pulleys. So that's everything on the front end. So what we're going to do, pull the front, have a look how much bigger of a radiator we can get in there, see if we can rejig the radiator arrangement, because I think if we put the oil cooler behind, it'd be in a better position, but maybe if we get a bigger radiator we don't need to do that. So we'll see, we'll figure out the best way of doing it. I think there's a potential that the petrol engine, either B8 or B9, S5, RS5, where it's got a bigger radiator. So if they have, that'll be a nice OEM plus upgrade that we can put on there. We aren't having to mess about too much, I hope, but we never know. But all this is going to happen while I'm away. I'm away most of August, so this is going to go into the workshop. They're going to have a look at doing all this. While they do this, they're going to pull the oil thermostat out of there, look at modifying it, making it a bit softer and see if it'll open a bit earlier, because it isn't fully open till 140 degrees, so at the minute we've not got the full cooling to the oil anyway, but I still don't think that's going to fix it because the coolant will getting hot anyway. So we'll see what we can do. So yeah, that'll be this video. Hopefully somebody records more than the butt crack while they're doing it, because that seems to be the Darkside way. Some fancy music, fast forward, butt crack, end of the video, and we have to try and edit his way into magic. But anyway, see how we get on, and if this doesn't fix it, or we can't do an easy fix, this is just going to get a big turbo and it's going to be a road car for somebody, because I don't want to keep chasing temperature problems on track cars, because that's what makes it boring. We can only do 5 laps in a row and then have to come in and let it cool down. That's very, very boring. So anyway, I'll leave everybody to it. I'm not sure when this thing will get done, but it won't be long. Hopefully it'll all be good.
So I need to be very, very careful what I say in this video, because the last person to work on this, should I say, before the problem was Ryan.
Flashback.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's it.
And after Ryan had worked on it, one of these pipes came off on the track day.
Whoa, I think Mella's painted me in a bit of a bad light here. Quite a bit of stuff happened in between me fitting the part that failed and the part failing. So we went to Coombe, it got hot. I fitted a cooler, seemed fine on the road, did quite a bit of mileage there. So went to the officially gas track day, drove there, absolutely kicked the car's head in all day. The oil was still getting really, really hot. So I knew there was a problem. We were just doing a few laps at a time and it was fine, but literally did majority of the day in that because the TT had a couple of little issues as well. So it did get quite a bit of running that day. Then I did the introduction to this video, which was the water pump and all that sort of stuff. While I were on holiday, all the front end got took off, water pump got fitted. We measured up to see if the radiators that we saw online would fit straight on. It turned out, as far as I'm aware, that they wouldn't fit, so we didn't really have a chance to upgrade anything else. We did fix the thermostat. I don't think we've got many good pictures of that. So it all got packed back together. Scott went out on a warm-up lap at Blyton Park while I was still on holiday. And the first lap, so he weren't even filming. I don't know why he weren't filming, but he weren't filming. And that's when it went pop. So I'm still going to take the blame. Apparently I'm that tight I wouldn't put a 10p Jubilee clip on that pipe. But in my defence, that pipe is push fit and it should not need any Jubilees. But clearly we either worked outside the operating pressure or the hose had gone past the temperature it should have gone to, and then that's damaged. I don't know what's happened, but no suppliers are going to stand behind the product to the point of 10 grams of engine. Anyway, back to Danny probably slagging me off again.
Basically, ran the engine dry, it was all over the track, all over Blyton. We thought we might have got away with it because we pretty much came to an immediate stop. We topped the oil up, started driving it back. Well, Sam started driving it back. All the lads in the workshop were giving him loads of stick, saying he's blown it up because he was racing the car on the way back.
You with the car park, it sounds alright to me.
Did? No, I didn't actually. I said, what's that noise? And you said,
Oh, they sound like that.
No,
that's
just
a lie.
injectors. It's just injectors.
That were a different car.
No, it weren't.
It's me who said no, kill it, it's
Why would I ask about a different car when I'm driving this one back?
No, that's when it was just ticking over at idle.
No, just the injectors that. I couldn't give a
That were at
That's
idle.
what you said. You said I couldn't give a if you make it or not. You said
You said it sounded fine
you're
until
going to
you
break
were
down in
launching
10
it.
minutes next to a pub.
Apparently that's not the case, but we'll never know because there's not a dash cam in here. But on the way back, I'm pretty sure it just cut out. We ended up recovering it back here, doing some diagnostics. We whipped the sump off, and when we did that, we found, well, we just took one of the bearings out and found that one of the bearings was scored. So it's not looking good. We know it's at least going to need a rebuild or another engine putting in there. So today's video, or today's job, not the full video, but today's job is going to be stripping down the top end of this. We know the bottom end's gone. We're going to strip down the top end, see what damage has been done internally, and then assess whether it's worth rebuilding this one or just getting another second-hand engine to put in it. And then basically be back to where we were about 4 weeks ago. So I'll let Sam crack on, we'll get it stripped down, and then we'll have a look at what damage is there. So it's looking fairly good on the driver's side. We've had all the carrier, the camshaft carriers off. There's no kind of weird scoring on these. These don't have any bearings in them. It's literally just the camshaft that sits directly in the carrier. So it looks like we've got away with this side. We still need to get the passenger side off and see if we've been as lucky with that side. So we've got the passenger side rocker cover off and more, well, I think it's good news at the minute. So it doesn't look like we've got any major damage to the cams or the carriers other than your normal wear and tear for the mileage this engine's done. So that's good news, but the future of this build is highly dependent on whether we can get a crank at the right money and maybe some of the other bottom end components. We'll know more when we get that stripped down even further. More good news, the turbo seems all right. Obviously, when you do get material in the oil system, it does go pretty much all the way through the engine, which is why we've had to take the rocker cover off to check the cams. The oil obviously runs through the turbo, so we're going to have to strip it down to check it fully. Top end looks good, bottom end we still need to investigate a little bit deeper and see if we can source the parts. We'd rather rebuild this with a genuine new crank and obviously whatever other components it needs, then spend, I think we're going to be looking like 6, 7, 8 grand for a second-hand engine. And to be fair, you never really know the condition of that engine anyway, so if we were to get a used engine, we'd still want to take the sump off, you'd still want to change the crank bearings just to make sure that it's good, basically. So since the last part of the video when we had this in the workshop and we stripped down the heads to see what damage had been done, we've been contemplating what to do with the S5 project. As you can see, it's been parked up in the corner of the yard for several weeks now while we make a decision, and to be fair, we still haven't made a decision fully, and that's kind of why we're doing the video now, the end of the video now, before fixing the car and then putting the end in. Anyway, we're going to ask for your help in this video. We mentioned in the last part of the video that the options were to either get another engine, which were going to be quite expensive. Doing some more digging, we managed to find a couple of engines from anything between £5,500, £6,000 were kind of the cheapest ones available. A little bit high mileage, probably no higher than what this has done anyway, but as already mentioned, the thing with a used engine is you don't actually know the actual condition. So if we were to buy a used engine at £5,000 or £6,000, we're still probably going to spend, I don't know exactly, but more on top of that to strip it down to make sure it's going to be all right. The other option that we've come across is a reconditioned engine. That's coming back at €7,500 plus any shipping to get it over here as well. So again, not cheap. And then the only other thing with the reconditioned engines is, although it's been reconditioned, you're not entirely sure to what standard it's been done. Again, until you strip the engine down and have a look yourself. If you're spending €7,500 on an engine which is supposed to be reconditioned, do you really then want to be spending time and money to strip it down to see how well that's been done? Or the kind of third option that we've got is to rebuild it ourselves, but the costs of that are quite high. So this is what we're trying to weigh up. A crankshaft, the retail price for a crankshaft is £2,245 plus VAT, so not cheap at all. You've then got thrush washers, we've then got the crankshaft bearings, worst case rods. Until we get the rods out, we're not 100% sure if we're going to need them, but they're not cheap. Obviously more bearings, piston rings, valve stem seals, more bearings, gaskets and all that jazz. Basically, even our trade price, so our cost on all those parts, that's still coming back at £4,500 plus VAT. That's without any labour as well. So as you can see, we're in a little bit of a predicament. Do we rebuild it? Do we put a used engine in it? Do we put a reconditioned engine in it? Or an unknown reconditioned engine in it? The reason why we kind of said we were going to end this video here and reach out to you guys is, one, if you kind of know of any good conditioned, low mileage engines, drop us an email. If you know of an engine that the top end might have failed, but it's got a good bottom end, a decent crank and stuff like that. Again, drop us an email, let us know, just to give us a few more options before we make a final decision on what we're going to do with this car. So for now, that is going to be this project put on hold for quite a while. So there's probably going to be a big gap between this video and the next one. So if you were following the channel for this car specifically, really sorry, but we have got some very cool projects coming up very soon. I know there's not much to like in this video in terms of we've got a knackered engine, but if you did like this video, not the reason why we made this video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one, but not this one, another project. Oh, and almost forgot, the fourth and final option that we have got to put in this is the 4-litre V8 TDI. So it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but after looking into this, they both use the same MD1 ECU. Both should, in theory, have the same kind of wiring setup because they both run the 48 volt supercharger system, which means it should be straightforward to put a 4-litre V8 into the S5, but until we actually get down to the nitty-gritty and try it, we're not actually going to know. So that is another option. The engine itself is probably going to be similar to a new 3-litre engine, so that's why we kind of looked into it to weigh it up. Other than any additional labour, maybe a few different coolant pipes and stuff like that. Again, until we actually try it, we're not 100% sure, but that is one more option for you to consider. And if you think we should go down that route, comment below and let us know.